of classification and filing system. Each of the organization in this world, especially in today's modern world with the development of technology, needs a good record management system. In fact, a good record management system could be able to help an organization from small organization to a large, more advanced organization because they are able to see and analyze clearly what is happening in their organization. The classification and filing system is the key to a good records management system. Classification system is defined as the systematic identification and arrangement of business activities or record into a categories according to logically structured conversation, method, and procedural rules dispensed in a classification system. Filing system refer to process which involve classification arrangement, control, and indexing of file for the purpose retrieving when it needs. A filing system is the central record keeping system of an organization. It helps organization to be organized, systematic, efficient, and transparent. Next, the objective of filing system. First, for the purpose of collecting the documents. Second, to provide evidence. Third, to provide information.
Let me continue our presentation today with the importance of the filing system. The first one is to increase the efficiency. The existence of filing system can help the organizations to increase efficiency in their office operations. This is where the file or the document can be located and retrieved without any delay. The second one is saving any valuable space. The existence of filing system also can help the organization to save the available space in their office. The third one is proof for the future. The existing of filing system also able to work as the proof where can be a proof if there any problem arise in the future about the organizations. The fourth one is control tool. The filing system also works as a control tool where it will control the movement of the file or the documents. And the last one is goodwill of the business. The existing of filing system will enable all the staff to handle and deal with the correspondence correctly and properly without facing any problems. This situation also will increase the goodwill of the business operations organizations.
There are a lot of impacts that an organization had to face if they are having improper classification and filing system. One of them is the difficulties in retrieving the records when it is required. It is a big problem if the staff are unable to retrieve the files required. In most cases, the factors that causing the system could not be able to find the file required is due to the mistakes did during the process of filing those records. It is either there is a mistake in terms of the coding or the files were misplaced. The improper classification and filing system also will lead to poor productivity in an organization. Why? Because a good classification and filing system ultimately aids an organization in achieving better bottom line results due to the good records management practice. So, all of the employees and staffs are able to keep their eye on each record to see the progress of their sales and services. However, if both classification and filing system is being done in improper way, they are unable to do so. Next, it also increases the probability for the files in an organization to be lost. The loss of files, especially the ones that keep all important details, should not be happen in an organization because it will not only tarnish their good name and reputation, but they also will lose their customers as well. Due to the improper filing system, their ability to provide the best services and sales experience, especially towards the top clients, being affected. In an organization, especially business, the relationship with the clients and customers is vital in ensuring the success of it. However, just because of the missing or the loss of files that most people always consider trivial, it can ruin everything in just a second. Improper classification and filing system also leads to the duplication of the same records. This kind of situation is the one that any organization wants to avoid because the major problem is when the confusion arises among the employees. It will be challenging for them to identify which one among them is the right one. The situation where duplication of records happen can be detected once the employees find it difficult to access the information or check the updates of the documents. Although the existence of duplication of records is not a major issue, but it is able to slow down the progress. It will be worse if the file is used and updated by many departments.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Adila Natasha binti Jamaya. In this next part of introduction is about current issues in classification and filing system. So basically, current issues in classification and filing system is the requirement for developing functional records classification. It will be difficult to implement an efficient and effective records management. And the third is the Information Security Management System, or ISMS. The fourth is the lack of description about the classification guidelines and sufficient inventory assets. Classification of information is not a new concept, but several studies highlight that there are still a lot of organizations out there. The issues in classification and filing not only arise among organizations that conduct business. Classification and filing system is compulsory in order to ensure the process of retrieving records. Thank you. The background information about IAB Genting Highlands Administrative History. IAB is an educational leadership and management training institution. Before this, IAB has been known as MESTI in March 1979. MESTI stands for Malaysian Educational Staff Training Institute. And IAB have been moved to Genting Highlands in March 1985. IAB was officiated by His Majesty on 20 October 1988. The goal of the IAB is to build and develop professionalism in educational leadership and management that will help develop the national education system as whole. In this slide is about the organizational chart of IAB Genting Highlands. In the top we have director, and the below we have deputy director of the rights. They have two types. The first is professional, and the second is training service cluster, and the third is branch director, and the fourth is registrar. The next is the vision and mission of Aminuddin Baki Institute. The vision is to be an outstanding educational leadership development center, and the mission is to develop educational leadership to produce quality organization. The next slide is about the function of Aminuddin Baki Institute. There are 6 of function. The first is training, assessment, consultancy, research, publication, and think tank. We move to the next slide. It's about the activities of Aminuddin Baki Institute. There are a lot of activities being conducted by Aminuddin Baki Institute from the last year. It starts from January, February, March, July, August, September, October, November, and December 2020.
Let's move to the file classification and coding system applied by IAB Genting Highlands. IAB Genting Highlands classify their files into two main categories, which are housekeeping files and functional files. The housekeeping files contains all those records and documents related to the administrative matter, buildings and property, equipment and supplies, finance and personnel. Meanwhile, the functional files contain records and documents related with the basic function and activities of IAB Genting Highlands. The serial number for housekeeping files is from hundreds to 500, while for the functional files, the serial number starts from 600 to 900. In terms of the filing system, they are using hierarchical classification system, for their filing, while the coding system that they use is alphanumerical system. For the retrieval process, they retrieve the records manually based on the file registration book. Actually, before this, they are using a system which they created by themselves to help them with the process of retrieval of records. That system required them to enter the file number to retrieve it. However, the system has been broken down and can no longer be used. Now, they are retrieving their files and records manually based on the file registration book. When we mentioned that it will be difficult for them to do so, they said that they have the experience of doing it manually before the system exists. Thus, it is not a big deal for them to get used and closing of the file. IAB Genting Highlands will open a new file when a document is received or created by them and its file does not exist yet. The title, reference number, and the date of the opening of the file will be written on the cover of the file. The open file will then be registered in the Department File Register. All the files are arranged in chronological order. For the file closing, it will be closed when it contains 100 pieces of contents or the thickness of the file reach 4 cm. On the cover of the closed file will be crossed with a red ink and the word close will be written on it by using permanent blue or black ink. The temporary file. There are two conditions of opening the temporary file, which is when a letter or document that have been received or created by them requires immediate action but the file in question cannot be traced, and when there are more than one officer needs to take action using the same file. The temporary file is opened as the same way as the opening of a new file. The reference number and the file title must be same as the original file number and title. The content and the temporary file cover then will be reinserted into the original file as one content when the original file has been obtained. File storage and disposal. Active records in IAB Genting Highlands will be placed on the shelves in the records room. All the shelves are labeled to ease the retrieving process. Meanwhile, the classified files are stored in bare locked cabinets to protect their confidential value. For the process of disposing their records, IAB Genting Highlands dispose their records when the lifespan reach 5 to 10 years depending on the file functionality requirements. They dispose them based on the standards set by the National Archive of Malaysia.
Next, let's move to the sample of the filing system. The filing system are divided into the 4 levels, which is the first level is about functions, the second one is about activity, the third one is about sub-activity, and the fourth one is about transactions. Let's take a look at the fast hierarchical for housekeeping file with the code 100 until 500. For example, the code 100, which is about the pentadbiran, 100-1 perundangan, 100-1/3 perkeliling and peraturan dalam agensi, 101/3/1 perkeliling dan peraturan dalam KPM. The another example of the housekeeping file is code 400, which is about pengurusan keuangan dan perakaunan, 400-2 keuangan, 400-2/1 bajet mengurus, 400-2/1/1 mesyuarat penyelesaian program pengurusan P2 Outcome Based Budget OBB KPM. Let's move to the fast hierarchical for the functional files with the code 600 until 900. For example, the code 600, which is about pengurusan pentadbiran, 600-1 pengurusan takwin, 600-1/1 takwin pendidikan, 600-1/1/1 takwin pendidikan persekolahan. Another example for the functional file, which is code 800, is about pengurusan murid dan pelajar, 800-1 kemasukan murid/pelajar, 800-1/3 institusi swasta, and 800-1/3/3 kemasukan pelajar tadika.
Like you all can see, the table show a housekeeping file 100 that I get from Aminuddin Baki Institute, I will explain 1 from housekeeping files 100. For example, for sub-activity, perkeliling dan peraturan dalam agensi. For the description is perkara-perkara berkaitan arahan, pentadbiran dalaman dan pengkeliling serta peraturan agensi. Next, the table of functional files 600 that I get from Aminuddin Baki Institute. Next, I will explain 1 from functional file 600. For example, for activity, pengurusan takwim. The description is perkara-perkara berkaitan dengan pengurusan takwim penggal persekolahan.
As the conclusion, we can conclude that IAB Genting Highlands is having a good classification and filing system. We can see that they really apply and follow the guidelines in both Government Records Management Policy and the Service Circular No. 5 year 2007 in managing their records, which includes the process of opening and closing of their files until the disposal procedure. Due to that, they are not facing with problems in terms of classifying, storing and retrieving their records when it is required. This can be seen when they mention that they are retrieving their records manually due to the system failure of the old system which they used in their retrieving process before. That situation clearly shows that the types of classification system that they use in their records management is suitable enough with the size and complexity of their organization, and the most important part is it is flexible to facilitate their changes in terms of their structure, activities, functions, and responsibilities.